Hey Griffins, happy Friday. You made it through another week of virtual learning. I'm so proud of you, but I do miss you so much. So I think Mr. V mentioned it, but we will be having a virtual meeting. We're gonna do it sometime next week. We're gonna give your parents further information when we have all the details figured out. But it's not going to be mandatory. However, we really hope that most of you can join. You can join on a phone, you can join on your tablet, on your laptop, on your parents' phone. But we just kind of want to chit chat with you, catch up a little bit, see your beautiful faces, because we miss you very much. So I hope to see you soon. Let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to focus on something that we know for the most part. However, I realized that this week on Monday and Wednesday we're kind of struggling with it a little bit. So we are going to be able, our learning target is we will be able to infer multiple themes within a text using text evidence. Now remember, theme is the message, the lesson, big picture. So when you're reading the story, think about maybe what did the main character learn? Okay, so this is what we're going to be focusing on today. Let's go ahead and take a look at our reader's tips. So I'm going to go ahead and read the first 3 paragraphs there for you on reader's tips. So I want you to go ahead and follow along with me. All right. Authors of literary texts share messages or lessons about life through characters and plot events. These messages or lessons are themes. Themes are important because they allow readers to make personal connections to the characters and their experiences. Readers may also transfer the lessons they learn from stories, dramas, and poems into their own lives. Some themes are directly stated. Many themes are implied and require readers to make inferences based on details such as the thoughts, speech, and actions of the characters. So we've talked about inferencing before. We know that when we're reading a story, the author isn't going to say, oh, the theme of this story is, or the lesson I want you to learn is, right? It doesn't say that. A lot of times we have to make an inference based off of what lesson the character is learning. Okay. Authors often express themes as main characters respond to challenges. While the story itself, including the setting, characters, and plot, exists within the words used by the author, the theme is embedded within a deeper layer of meaning that exists below the story's words. Once identified and interpreted by readers, the theme helps them understand something new about humans and how they interact, learn, and grow. Whether directly stated or inferred, themes are always supported using evidence within the text. The evidence provided by the author leads readers to the intended theme or themes. Often in texts, authors include more than one theme. Use this outline organizer as you identify multiple themes in texts and the evidence to support each theme. So at the bottom there, basically all they're showing you is, okay, this story has a theme, an overall theme, and then underneath it says evidence, and then detail about evidence. So basically all I want you to be thinking about, because it looks like it's confusing, but it's not. But as you're reading today's story, I want you to be thinking about what is the theme, what is the lesson, the message that the author wants us to learn, and what is my evidence to prove that that's the theme. If you look at the right-hand side there, those are the questions that we're going to be thinking about as we're reading today's story. So number 1 says, what challenge or challenges does the main character face? Because sometimes it's more than one problem or challenge. 2, how does the character respond to the challenges? If the character has a positive response, what can you learn from his or her thoughts, speech, and or actions that you might transfer to your own life? If the character has a negative response, what can you learn still from his or her thoughts, what they say, or their actions, and applying it to that you might avoid in your own life? Number 3 says, how might you state the learning of the character as a theme? And then 4, what evidence in the text supports your analysis of the theme of the text? So basically, okay, I think this is what the lesson is. Give me something that supports it, that's coming directly from the story. So if we take a look at our story today is titled Bells and Whistles, and Whistles. Of course, you need to write down RNAG, RQPC, and NAG at the bottom. Now, just like on Monday and Wednesday, how we added an additional step, I went ahead and added theme here at the bottom. So I want you to make sure you write that down. And you're going to write down, give me a sentence of what you think the theme is after you've done the second R, not after the first R, okay? So you're going to read the story, you're going to do narrator, author's purpose, and genre, you're going to reread, and then you're going to give me a sentence at the bottom of your paper there, identifying what you believe the theme is, what you think the message is, the lesson of the story. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and pause the video and do RNAG-R theme. Okay, now that you've completed RNAG-R and theme, let's go ahead and take a look at your questions. Number 1 says, what is a theme in the text? So you should have already started to think about this. That's why I had you write down a sentence identifying what you believe the theme is. So remember, theme is the message, the lesson. Okay, so A, people should be more considerate of others' time and talent. B, responsibilities must be fulfilled before we play. C, sacrifices are easily made for those we love. Or D, hard work is its own reward. Please make sure you take your time because there is a good distractor on this one. So eliminate your way offs and then find the difference between your distractor and your correct answer. Remember to think big picture. What would be the life lesson? What was the main thing that the character may have learned? All right, let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 says, read these sentences from paragraph 3. If she were only stronger, she could earn as much money as her father. Then Susan would never have to work in the mill. So these are coming directly from the story, okay? How do these sentences support the theme of the text? So think about the theme that you chose in number 1. Now, how does this support the one that you chose in number 1? F, they show that Harriet is weak. G, they show that Harriet is selfless. Remember, selfless and selfish are 2 different words. Selfish is kind of like, I'm only thinking about myself, I only care about myself, I don't care about anybody else. Selfless means you care about everybody kind of for yourself. So keep that in mind. It doesn't say selfish, it says selfless. H, they show that Harriet is jealous. Or J, they show that Harriet is determined. So your key words are weak, selfless, jealous, and determined. Think about the theme that you chose in number 1. Think about the couple of sentences that they have there from paragraph 3, and how do those support the lesson of the story. Okay, and our last question, number 3, which text evidence supports the theme that education is the key to an easier way of life? So in this case, they're giving you one of the themes. And one of those themes of the story they're saying is that education is the key to an easier way of life. So now you're thinking about that lesson, and you're going to look at your answer choices and think which one of these supports that theme, okay? Now, all of our answer choices are in italics. What does that mean? They're all coming directly from the story. So you can't just find one in the story and say, oh, it's in the story, it's my answer. They're all in the story. But you have to find which one supports that education is the key to an easier way of life. A, Harriet could hear the shouts of men unloading bales of cotton from train cars in the distance. B, she could stay in school and maybe become a teacher like their beloved Miss Frances. C, Harriet slipped into her place at the spooler just before the whistle sounded to begin her shift. D, she hoped her sister could look forward to the joyful ring of a school bell instead. Okay, so again, which one of these supports that education is the key to an easier way of life? All right, so at this point, you should have RNEG RQP checked off. Go ahead and complete the last part, which is check, and then we're all done. Okay, that wraps up this lesson and this week. Just a reminder, you're going to click on the link below and you're going to submit your answers through quizzes. I do not need any pictures. Please make sure that you are caught up on all lessons. If you are not sure what you're missing, go ahead and reach out to me, give me a call, text me so I can let you know what you're missing, because we are taking grades and attendance, okay? Again, I hope that everybody is staying safe and healthy, and I cannot wait to see you all next week. Have a wonderful weekend.
Hey, good morning guys. Happy Friday. What we're going to do today is take some notes, so you will need either your science journal or a piece of notebook paper. Instead of writing the notes by hand with you guys the way I normally do, I'm going to be showing you a slideshow and you're going to write down whatever you see in the slides. The reason why I'm doing it this way is because there are some pictures that I want you to be able to visually see, and we know I'm not the best artist, so I'd really rather you guys see an actual picture of it instead of trying to figure out what I'm drawing. So let's go ahead and get started. Today in our notes, we're going to be focusing on inherited traits and learned behaviors. So what I need for you to do is take your journal or your notebook paper and split it into 2 columns. I want you to label the left side inherited traits and the right side as learned behaviors. This is your T-chart where we're going to be putting in some examples. Now, before we start, I'm going to kind of explain. I know we already took notes over the vocabulary, but I really wanted to stress to you that the word inherited means that you're born with it, and learned behaviors or acquired traits and behaviors you're not born with. So inherited means that you were born that way. It's because of your gene pool, but learned or acquired traits you're not necessarily born with. So the examples were knowing how to swim. That's something that has to be taught to you. Or the 3-legged dog. The dog was not born that way, but because of an injury, he lost his 4th leg. So today, when you're looking at the difference and examples, I really want you to think about, is this something that this person or animal was born with, or is it something that they had to learn how to do over time? So if they're born with it, once more, they inherited that trait. So I'm going to show you 6 examples, and what I want you to do is write down the example on either inherited traits on your T-chart or the column for learned behaviors. Now, I have pictures to go along with each example, but you do not have to draw the picture, just write the phrase. So your first example is the ability to play a musical instrument. Now I want you writing this example under which title you think it describes. So is this a trait that is inherited, something that you're born with, or is it a learned behavior? The next example is a guide dog leading a human. Is this an inherited trait? So if you think it's inherited, then you write it under the left column of inherited traits, or is it a learned behavior? The color of your eyes. Is this an inherited trait or a learned behavior? Place it under the column that you think it belongs. The next example is the number of bones in a cat's body. So a fun fact, they have 230 or around 230 bones, while humans only have 206. So place this example under the column that you believe best describes. Next, we have a parrot talking, or a talking parrot. So is this something that you think they are born with or something they learned how to do? And your final example is the shape of an eagle's beak. So you should have 3 examples under inherited traits and 3 examples under learned behaviors. So I'm going to give you a moment to make sure all of that is copied down and placed in the correct column. Pause your video while you take a minute to finish this up. Now let's go over our answers. Before you finish your notes today, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page of where each example belongs. So the ability to play a musical instrument is a learned behavior. The color of your eyes is an inherited trait. A guide dog leading a human is a learned behavior. The number of bones in a cat's body is inherited. A talking parrot is a learned behavior. Now, they're born with the ability to do so, but they have to actually learn how to do it, and they learn by listening and mimicking. And the shape of an eagle's beak is an inherited trait. So good job today, guys. This is your notes just to give you a couple examples of the difference between inherited traits and learned behaviors. On your quizzes today, you're going to see more examples and you will have to decide whether it is an inherited trait or a learned behavior. I'll see you guys next week.
Good morning, guys. For today, for Friday, May 1st, we're going to be using a couple of the words that you had on Wednesday. We're going to be using inherited physical trait, rasgo físico heredado, and learned behavior, un comportamiento aprendido. Okay, so you're going to be doing a T-chart. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you a sample of the T-chart, and I'm going to want you to put 3 learned behaviors on the learned behavior side and the 3 inherited physical traits on the inherited physical traits, que van a tener 6 fotos donde van a necesitar que ponerlo en el lugar donde va rasgos físicos heredados o comportamientos aprendidos. Okay, so I want you to do this on your sheet of paper. These are your notes. Take a picture of it and send it back to me. Okay. Okay, guys, we're going with TEACS 5.10b, traits, rasgos. Okay, here are your cards. Here you have a parrot saying hello. Here's a number of bones in a kitten. Color of your eyes. A guide dog leading a person. The shape of an eagle's beak. And ability to play musical instrument. Okay, those are your trait cards. Now here, there's your T-chart. This is where I want you to put whether inherited physical traits, los rasgos físico heredados. Hay tres tarjetas. Here you have your learned behaviors, comportamientos aprendidos. So I gave you an easy one. There's 3 of each one. So you should be able to do that, okay? Here are your cards again.
Hey guys, it's Friday, yes! So today's gonna be very simple. All you gotta do is take the quiz that's in the description below. And remember that if you miss one question or get 100, you're gonna have the opportunity after this quiz to win a whole large pizza that's going to be delivered to your house. Probably on Monday. I want to give everybody the opportunity to have enough time to take the quiz. What else? Ooh, when you get the pizza, if you're the one that wins, you have to take a picture of yourself so that I can show everybody on next week, and you actually get to choose where you want the pizza from. So whether you like Pizza Hut or Domino's or whoever else delivers. So good luck, guys. I can't help you. It's a quiz. Just try your best, and we'll see what happens. Bye.
Okay, guys, for today for math, for Friday, May 1st, first day of the month on Friday, you're going to have 5 problems again. You're going to have your UPSI, 2 word problems in 1 order of operations, and then you're going to have 2 word problems to do. They're very similar, so pay attention. Okay, que para el viernes van a tener 5 problemas para matemáticas. Van a tener 4 problemas de palabras y 1 orden de operaciones. So make sure that you look at my examples that I have on there for you. Ya les di unos ejemplos en cómo resolver los problemas. Remember your least common multiple for your denominator. El múltiple más común de cada uno. El que tienen los dos. Alright? So make sure you follow the instructions. Okay, guys, here's your UPSI for Friday, May 1st. Este es el primer problema para ustedes para el viernes. Okay, there's your problem. I'm not going to read it to you, but there's the how to work it on the left side. En la mano izquierda, ahí les enseño cómo resolver este problema. Necesitan que agarrar el denominador común para los 3. Find the least common multiple for your denominator for those 3 fractions. There's your order of operations. Remember that parentheses and brackets. These are your brackets right here. So you got to do this first, and then what's in here first, then this, and then this is your last one. Okay? And there's your third problem. As you notice, this is a subtraction problem. So make sure you find the least common denominator for those 2. So read the problem and solve it. Here's your problems 4 and 5. Bradley collects marbles. 2/5 of his marbles are blue. Angel also collects marbles. 6/10 of his marbles are blue. What percentage of blue marbles do each boy have? Okay. ¿Qué porcentaje de canicas azules tienen cada uno? Well, I already showed you how to solve them right there. Make sure you work it out. And when you divide, make sure you do all the steps. Remember, when you're dividing, you've got to divide, multiply, subtract, and then bring down. Remember your steps. Here's a 5th problem. If 2/5 of Bradley's marbles are blue and 6/10 of Angel's marbles are blue, which student has a higher percentage of blue marbles? And how much more? Okay?